Welcome back to another video. In this one, we're going to have a look at the most transferred in and transferred out players ahead of Game Week 5. So let's get into it. Okay, so starting off with the transferred out for defenders, and a lot of these, we don't need to go into too much detail. They just kind of make sense. Nouri has picked up an injury. He didn't start against Manchester United, and he looks to be out for a couple of weeks. So completely get the reason that he is top of this most transferred out list. Same with Aina for Forest. He also is going to be out for a few weeks. He picked up an injury in the international break, I believe. So that makes complete sense. Saliba, again, another one who's injured. These all just make complete sense, especially given their price. They're not exactly cheap, so you can't really hold them on your bench while they're injured. Then Cucurella, he didn't start against Brentford on Saturday, which is a really interesting one. He did come on. And as you can see, 6.2 million, meaning he's got a couple of price rises this season. He's been really good when he's played, to be fair. So I'm not really sure why he didn't start. Hato started instead of him at left back, but yeah, he did come on. He's kind of looked good in every kind of game he's played, to be honest. So I don't really know why he didn't start that game. But if rotation is going to be something we see quite a lot of, then I completely get the reason for selling him. But when he plays, he's fantastic. So if you do think he just gets his place back and continues to start, then he's fantastic. But I guess maybe he won't with Hato around. And Wan-Bissaka has gone down to 4.4 million now. He's had 75,000 transfers out this week. And again, that one just makes sense. He hasn't started the last two games. Kyle Walker-Peters has started instead of him. In the Forest game, West Ham looked a lot better when Walker-Peters started. Against Spurs, not so much. It wasn't a great display from West Ham, especially defensively. So, yeah, who knows if Wan-Bissaka will come back in. He was really good last season, so I highly doubt he's just not going to play anymore. So, that's the transferred out. Transferred in defenders. So, Van de Ven is top, although it's very close between him and Mark Guehi. Now, Van de Ven is one where he obviously scored at the weekend against West Ham and got a clean sheet. He got 14 points, so does kind of make a lot of sense. Spurs' fixtures are pretty good, and Spurs have kept 3 clean sheets now in 4 games. So their defence looks very, very solid. I don't think there's a good reason to not look at Van de Ven at the moment. I think he's a great option. Mark Guehi we'll touch on in a second. Timber, over 100,000 transfers in. I'm not sure on this one personally. Actually, we can touch on Calafiori as well because he's 5th there. Both of these fullbacks are quite high up, and I'm not sure I particularly agree with it. The only reason for that, obviously they're cheaper than Gabriel. Gabriel's 6.1 million now, as you can see there, he's in 7th. These fullbacks in Timber and Calafiori are a bit cheaper, sorry. 0.4 million cheaper now. I'm just not there on them yet. I think that the kind of consistency of starts that you're going to get from Gabriel is going to be a lot better than Timber and Calafiori. Now, obviously, they've both started. I do believe they're both first choice, by the way. They've both started all the Premier League games. I just think that with European fixtures coming up, I do think Lewis Skelly will get some minutes. I do think that White, I don't know if White's actually fit right now, but when he is, or if he is now, then he'll get some minutes as well at right back. I'm just not sure that these two guys are quite as nailed as some people might think they are. And maybe they will be in the league. Maybe Lewis Skelly or maybe Calafiori and Timber just get all the Premier League minutes and then are rested in the Champions League, or who knows. But I think I'd rather pay the extra 0.4 million to get the safer option in Gabriel. So then when we come on to Guehi and Senesi, Guehi is 175,000 transfers in. Senesi 93,000. Now Senesi I completely get. Guehi is one that I'm not as sure on personally. Now don't get me wrong, Palace, a fantastic defence. They've been brilliant defensively so far. They've kept a lot of clean sheets this season. But if we just pull up his numbers here, this might be a little bit small on your screen, but what I'm looking at here is, obviously points-wise, he got 6 points against Sunderland, that's a clean sheet. He got 6 points against Chelsea, that's a clean sheet. And he got 15 points against Villa. Now, the reason he got 15 points against Villa was because he scored a goal, obviously. I don't think that's going to be something we can rely on long-term from Guehi. something that we can rely on from defenders long term is defensive contribution points, which is this column just here. Now, he hasn't been great for it. As you can see, 6, 9, 5 and 6 in his games, which, I mean, there are centre-backs that are a lot better than that. One of those centre-backs, for example, Senesi. These are his numbers. Now, 12, 14, 14, 15. He's hit the defensive contribution threshold in all 4 of these games. Now, yes, you might say that you prefer the Palace defence over the Bournemouth defence. I would agree somewhat. So I do completely get that. I just don't think that Gehi is going to get you these consistent other points apart from clean sheets. Someone that will, though, if we go back to this, is Lacroix, who's at the bottom here. Now, he is more expensive. He's 5 million, where Gehi is 4.6. But Lacroix seems to be much better for these defensive contribution points than Gehi is. So if you can get to 5 million, then I would go for him. However, I do think I prefer Senesi to Gehi, certainly for these upcoming weeks anyway. Just the floor is much higher. If Senesi is going to be at 3 or 4 points each week before a clean sheet and before any attacking return, then I do prefer that to Gehi. Okay, midfielders now and transfers out. It is no surprise that Florian Wirtz tops this list. 120,000 transfers out for him. The list is pretty bunched up, to be fair. There's quite a lot of midfielders that are being transferred out. Some I completely agree with, some I don't at all. Now, one that I'm a bit torn on is Wirtz. Now, if we pull up some of his numbers, actually, so it's not good reading at all. I mean, XG, he's got a total of 0.5 over all 4 games. XA, he's got a total of 0.7. Per 90, it's 0.14 XG and 0.19 XA. Minutes haven't been that bad. It's around 81, 79, 88, 86. So like I say, the minutes aren't particularly bad. It's just that he really doesn't look as involved as you'd want from the amount that you're paying for him. It's not been a great showing at all. Him and Salah have both really disappointed. A lot of people started with both Salah and Wirtz, and both have pretty much disappointed. Salah's just managed to grab some points, whereas Wirtz hasn't because, well, he's not on penalties, basically. But yeah, I do completely agree with people selling Wirtz. The only thing I would maybe say is the fixture isn't that bad for Game Week 5, so if you did have other more pressing moves, then I think you could keep Wirtz for one more week before you get rid of him. Now, if we go back to this graphic, so Kudus and Johnson. Now, Johnson I completely agree with. I would never have had Johnson in the first place. I think I mentioned this on some videos a couple of weeks ago. Johnson will always be the first one to drop out of that forward line. So when he plays, he's fantastic. I really like him as a footballer. He seems to have this knack of being in the right place at the back post at the right time. So I do really like him when he plays. I just don't think he was ever nailed on to play 90 minutes every single game. Kudus is one that I'm not particularly that sure why people are selling him now. Yes, the returns haven't been fantastic, but for 6.6 million, he's on corners from the right-hand side, it seems, and Spurs seem to be really dangerous from corners at the moment. He's playing a lot of minutes. He's starting every game in a good Spurs team at the moment. I just don't really know. I mean, Johnson is the other option to play on the right, I guess. But Kudus just seems like he's going to play good minutes. They've got good fixtures. So I wouldn't be selling Kudus personally. And again, to these City guys, Reinders and Marmoush. I mean, Marmoush is injured, so that makes complete sense. I would sell him. Reinders, I don't get this in the slightest why almost 100,000 people have sold Reinders. Now, he was really good in the first game. Obviously, he got a goal and an assist, and he hasn't got any attacking returns since. But what we have seen since is loads of minutes. Now, pre-season, before Game Week 1, the thing we were worried about with Reinders was the minutes. He's got the minutes, and he's playing in really advanced positions. Against Man United, we saw him get in such advanced positions. The chance where Haaland seemed to miss almost an open goal and hit the far post, Reinders was right there. Reinders also had a one-on-one that he only just missed. I mean, City's fixtures from Game Week 6 as well are really good. If I had Reinders, and I do in my team, I certainly won't be selling him, that's for sure. Now, if we look at the transfers in for midfielders, This is a lot bigger of a gap between number one and the rest. Now, Semenyo, if you've watched my channel before, last season, this season, you'll know I love Semenyo. The reason I love him is because of the amount of shots he takes. Let's chuck up this graphic again. It might be quite small, so apologies for that. But as you can see, I've got expected goals on the left and I've got total shots on the right. Now, we saw last season that Semenyo just shoots. He is one of the most greedy players. He just shoots. You can see he's joint second with Evan Nilsson and Mbermo on 10 shots this season. Now, 10 shots in 4 games is pretty good. Over 2 a game. So there's nothing not to like about that. XG as well. He is second. Now, some of that is from the penalty, and a penalty is worth 0.8 roughly XG. So some of that will be the penalty. But nevertheless, he is performing at a super high level right now. So I completely agree that he should be bought in. If you don't have him, then definitely look to get him. One thing to mention just while I've got this up is on the shots, 7 shots for Tijani Reinders. I just wouldn't be selling him. But anyway, back to the transfers in. Palmer is next. Now, I also agree with this. Palmer is obviously now back fit. He came off the bench against Brentford at the weekend. And the fixtures are actually pretty good for Chelsea as well going forward. So I definitely like that one. Grealish, I'm going to assume that this was probably before the game. Although having said that, I still like bringing in Grealish. Now, he didn't get an attacking return in game week 4. But if you watch the highlights of the game or you watch the game, you will have seen him in a lot of the good things that happened for Everton. I mean, if it wasn't for Emi Martinez pulling off some wonder saves, he would have had a goal or an assist in this game. So I also like bringing him in a lot. Caicedo just seems to be a good option right now. Defensive contributions he is going to be fantastic for. We've seen that already this season. And not only that, he's also grabbed a goal at the weekend. Xavi Simons looks quite good. Now, the thing I'd be worried about here is potentially minutes. Spurs have quite a few options now for those attacking positions. He played on the left against West Ham. I mean, that's where Johnson's been playing. Xavi Simons does seem like he'll just get minutes somewhere. Where that will be, I'm not too sure, but I don't think it really matters. Just because he looked fantastic. He's on a lot of set pieces. And like I mentioned earlier, Spurs look really good from set pieces this season. So I do think he's a pretty good option. Zubamendi's one that I'm not sure I'll be going for. He bagged 2 goals, of course. One was an absolute wonder goal from outside of the box, and that's the first goal he scored from outside of the box in his whole career. So that's not going to be a common theme. He might be all right for defensive contributions, but you're not going to get loads of attacking returns. So I'm not as keen on that one. On to forwards now, and Ekitike tops this list. I mean, he blanked against Burnley, obviously, in game week 4. But I think the main reason for this is probably the fact that Liverpool have now got Isak. Now, Isak wasn't in the squad against Burnley at the weekend, but we do know that Isak will be coming in at some point. Ekitike is obviously the most likely one to drop out, given that it would just be a straight swap for Isak to come in. I don't know when this will happen, whether it will happen as quickly as game week 5 or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, Ekitike is a minute's risk going forward, so I don't mind that. Chris Wood is one that I don't understand. I mean, I do get the reasoning for it, but I certainly wouldn't be doing it. So Chris Wood obviously hasn't scored since game week 1, I think, now. But I just wouldn't be selling him. I think the fixtures are really, really good, especially the next 2. I believe it's Burnley and Sunderland that Forest have. Now, the one thing to note with Forest is that they've obviously got European football now, and they've got quite a lot of backup players or squad players that can come in for Wood. I mean, we've seen Wood not get the same minutes as he got last season. He came off pretty early in game week 4, for example. So I do get the reasoning, given that if you don't think he's going to play 90 minutes, then yeah, he's not as good an option. But I just think these next couple of fixtures are too good that you can't ignore that. Now, Richarlison is another one I get. If he's not going to be starting like he didn't in game week 4, then yeah, he's not worth having in your team at all. I don't think we'll see Tell up front that much. I don't think Tell was great up front. He also looked like he was just injured the whole time. I'm not sure why he stayed on the pitch for so long, to be honest. But yeah, I don't think I'd be going for Richarlison. I don't think I'd want Richarlison in my team going forward anymore anyway, given that Kolo Muani is there. Now Watkins is one we have to talk about. He and Aston Villa have absolutely stunk this season. They haven't scored a goal in their first 4 game weeks, which is just horrific. Now, I own Watkins in my team. I won't be selling him this week, unfortunately. But the reason is just because they've got a good fixture. I believe it's Sunderland this week. So Sunderland actually aren't that bad defensively, but it's still a promoted team. It's still a fixture that you'd hope that Aston Villa can do something in. Whether we actually see that or not, who knows, given how bad they've been. Mark Gui is in 5th here, and that one just makes complete sense because a lot of people sold Palmer with the injury, meaning they had the funds to upgrade Gui as their 3rd forward, so that one just makes sense. Gyökeres in 6th is one I don't get at all. All he's done is be good since he come into the 11. He's getting really good minutes, although he did come off a little bit early in the most recent game, but that was because the game was won. So I'm not worried about his minutes going forward. He's on penalties. He plays for one of the better teams in the league. The fixtures aren't great for the next game, but from game week 6 onwards, they're fantastic. So I don't get that one at all. If we're moving into the transfers in now, and of course, Haaland is top. Now, there's no reason not to like Haaland at the moment. He's top of all the stats. Let's bring up those stats again, actually. So you've got the XG is a joke. I mean, 5.74. That's double Semenyo in 2nd. Ridiculous numbers. Absolutely outrageous numbers. And the shots, again, that's nearly double 2nd place. He's had 19 shots in 4 games. Outrageous. That's over 4 a game. Nearly 5 a game. It's just, the numbers are ridiculous. There's not any good reason not to bring in Haaland at the moment. The only one reason is that he plays Arsenal next, which is about as bad a fixture as you can get. I just don't see him and City not doing well against them, though. From game week 6 onwards, you're going to want Haaland in your team, though. I think it's Burnley at home in game week 6 for Man City, so if you don't have a plan to get Haaland in game week 6, then make one, basically. Just get him in for game week 6. Voltemada, he obviously scored in his debut for Newcastle. He seems like a good option now, especially given, I don't know if it's been confirmed, but it's been reported that Visser has an ACL injury, which could keep him out for obviously a long time, as ACLs do. So the only thing I don't like is Voltemada's fixtures at the moment. But if he's going to be the starting guy up front for Newcastle, then he is just a good option long term. João Pedro, he just continues to just keep delivering points. I don't even think he played particularly well in the game against Brentford. He didn't do that much going forward, but he still came away with an assist. He's just getting points. So, can't argue with that. Gyökeres, this makes more sense that people are bringing him in. Again, I'm going to wait till game week 6 personally because he plays City next. But just a good long-term option. And Isak is an interesting one here. So, I don't think I'll be buying Isak yet. I just think, given he wasn't even in the squad, if he got some minutes off the bench against Burnley, then I'd be more tempted to bring him in. Firstly, I don't think this Liverpool attack is functioning that well or well enough that you need to just force an attacking move in. But also, I'm probably just quite happy to wait to see him start first before I go there. There's not really any... The fixtures aren't... the fixtures are good, especially the next fixture. After that, they're okay. So the fixtures aren't good enough to try and get on him early, I wouldn't say. And then you've got a couple of guys that were also in the transferred out here. Ekitike, Wood, Richarlison, which is quite interesting. I mean, Wood I actually get. I probably would transfer Wood in because the fixtures are pretty good for the next couple. But that rounds up this list anyway. If you liked the video, do hit like, do subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.